I've spent the entire last month building a custom biome in Minecraft. At the start of the series, this land was basically a place to chop trees. Then I transformed it into a custom birch forest. Today is phase 3. Live streaming the entire process, showing everything that happened. I'm bringing together two massive projects, and this has taken well over 200 days in-game to complete. So be sure to leave a like and double check that you're subscribed as we rewind the clock to tell the story of how I built this. But first, we must add some lore to this world. Last episode, I built interiors in my hardcore city, asking for people to leave comments with stories for each of the shop fronts I have so far. I'm adding in some of my favorites as Easter eggs throughout the city as written books inside of each of them. That sign is looking much better. But of course, I've got some llamas to name in here too. Terry and Terry. Previously, I spent 24 hours building this world and completed this monolith, but the waterfall coming off of it just randomly ended. So the first step on this project is to extend the dirt and fill in some of the flatter areas for the water to more naturally come down the mountain and reach the river eventually below. With the outline done, I created space for pools for the water to gather before it moves on. Then jump down to the main river. I want to finish both endpoints, then figure out how to link them together as it makes more sense in my brain. So I cleared out a large area at the end of the river to allow for the water to flow through more easily. With that complete, I went back up to the whale to bring the water down to the plains level, where I had already built some custom trees, so I want to make these work in with the terrain by building up the bank of dirt so the water flowing through seems more natural with a bit of a riverbed edge on both sides of it. My idea was working well, so I flew through extending multiple routes for the water to reach the river, as I do want the small waterways, creeks, streams, or whatever they're supposed to be called sunken into the terrain, so I took a shulker of dirt around and stacked up the plains biome by 1 or 2 more blocks to keep it smoothed out across the entire thing and have the river make sense. Then filling in the ravine that split the landscape as it felt pretty out of place for what I wanted. I was brutally attacked by some stormtrooper llamas after their leader somehow disappeared. I'm not quite too sure what happened to him, but these llamas rolled a 1 on accuracy, so I was pretty safe. I survived the attack and spent the next few hours texturing the riverbeds with dirt and some large boulders to help explain why the waterways split and diverted along the course. It's still pretty bare, but so far I was really happy with the progress on this. Diving into the detail phase, we're getting right into the fun here. The boulders might have been nice, but they need some extra texture variation to match the monolith. As a first step, I went around adding in light gray wool and concrete powder to them. Then for some of the overhangs, I added in a bit of the acacia log for an artificial shadow. Now, plains biomes are pretty bare, so I want to add in subtle details where I can, like tearing up some of the grassy blocks to add in moss for this slight difference in color. Linking this to build elements already in my world, I went into the nether portal cave to the nether root farm and bone mealed the warp side to get a ton of warped roots and sprouts, which need shears to gather, of course. Adding those around the biome as grass to get the bluey turquoise color for even more of that green variety. Once again, gathering materials, I need a lot of string to prevent sugarcane and other things from growing, which led me down into the old spider spawner. But before that, I took some seagrass and added that into the riverbed to hide my inability to texture underwater. But now we can run through and just bring in a few carrots and a few beetroot throughout the edges. I hate this game. You don't plant beetroot. You need beetroot seeds. Beetroot crisis over. I grabbed wheat seeds instead and started adding those in along the riverbank. Then started with some sugarcane azalea bushes to create a lush riverbank at the top as well. But this needs a lot more variety along the riverbank, so I added in a bunch of items. The total list came through at patches of lilac, some dark oak saplings along the water. We have tall grass, sugarcane, and small drip leaf in the water itself for the flatter sections. Then for some larger bushes, I brought in oak leaves along the edge of the main river, before spamming them along the upper creeks as well, with some small flower patches and tall grass over the entire plains biome, which has led us here. A completed riverbed and details along the entire biome, and it's looking amazing. Now, not stopping there, I need a border for this biome or it just looks kind of gross. So I started to plan out where some custom trees will be built later on, and planning out a road that will extend beyond the biome to a future village transformation project that I'm really looking forward to. But but I need to assemble more custom tree stumps along the back edge of this project to fully encapsulate and surround the biome I'm building. Now here's my pro creator move. I added stream chat and forgot to hide it from recording, so if you see your name, let me know in the comments. But on day 4 of the project IRL, I wanted to frame out all of the beautiful custom birch trees with branches using birch wood and diorite walls for smaller branches at the end. A quick shout out to Marcos editing the video right now because he gifted me this Mandalorian head Lego over the holidays, but I do need birch leaves to finish the trees, so I flew out to where I've been clearing a birch forest along the ocean for a potential town build. But before I get carried away on another future plan, I need to fill an entire shulker box of leaves for my current custom trees. I'm using the same tree design from episode 17, where I spent a few hours adding in the leaves to the birch trees before adding in some custom oak trees with andesite walls for a trunk, then acacia leaf trees with oak fences as a trunk. But so far, I gotta say, I am in love with this transformation. Day 5 IRL rolled around, which led to more of the same thing. This is a really big project, and I had run out of birch leaves again, so I'm back at it again, clearing out the forest to build my own custom forest that hopefully is gonna be better. Today, I'm focusing on framing out the entire back section of the forest, building out as many of the trunks of the trees as I possibly can to, just so I can see how many leaves I'm going to need for this project, and better, how many trees I actually need to build. The stumps I had placed previously were for a general idea, but they weren't set in stone, allowing me to remove them if it felt too crowded, as this is meant to be a more open space as a forest edge biome. But more deadly llamas did show up. Safe from the llama spit, I finished building out the trunks of the trees on the back half, trying again to leave extra space between the trees so it wasn't quite as dense as the main forest. The tree trunks are all in place, but they are naked, which means it's time to leaf them. These had already taken a ton of time today to build, so I focused on the one at the front for now. Random chat window has been fixed, and I realized I built all these trees and never really showed y'all how to make them. If you are a fellow birch tree enjoyer, check out my second channel, fWhip 2, for a quick tutorial on how to build this one. Link in the description. But now, suddenly, a tree. Wow, look at that. Huh? It barks like a tree. Get it? It's bark on a tree. Okay, you know what? I got a lot more to build. I should move on. I don't think anybody really likes my jokes, but it's fine. I'm gonna keep telling them because I like them. Here we are, swooping once again because your boy needs more birch leaves. At this point in time, birch leaves are now my 8th most mine block in this world, as well as my 9th most place block. But those are rookie numbers. I gotta pump up those numbers. Yesterday was all about building the trunks. Today is all about finishing the trees and covering them with leaves to get the full atmosphere. Flying like a leaf in the wind, I made some of the best birch trees ever seen in Minecraft. It's already the best tree, but somehow we've made it even better here. The forest was feeling very full. As much as I like the trees, I don't want it to be super dense, so I tore down a few of the trees to leave it and make it a bit more open. Now, chat constantly asked me to build a lightning struck tree, so I had to oblige by tearing down one slightly and stripping all the logs, then bringing some stripped oak in for a darker variation and a few mangrove roots for like burned branches, but adding in a branch at the bottom that's still alive just for funsies. But the final birch trees grew back their leaves to finish off the border of this biome. This is looking super magical at this point in time, and one thing I want to do before we continue is actually tearing out these few trees that are at the front of the biome because they're really interrupting the view. I also don't want to interrupt the view of the monolith itself, so we've got a few more to move. Maybe we build a patch of the small trees right back in here so they kind of all belong together, and there's a weird gap coming through right here where you just see into nothingness. I've got one plan, so maybe we do 2 more. One extra little detail I did add in is a small footbridge to actually get into the middle of this biome instead of having to walk through the water. This project is getting into the final stages where all of the different elements are finally coming together to create something really special. Once more, back in the resource gathering phase, I jumped into the nether to pick up gravel from the piglin bartering stations. Along with a shulker box of dirt, I started to fill in the cave entrances around the middle of the biome before moving on to create a pond. There was so much green around that I wanted that little splash of blue in the middle of the plains since the creeks were on the far side. Of course, I needed details on the pond so it'd remain a focal point of the biome as you're walking by, so I added some mud around the edge and then dotted in a few other foliage bits and some flowers around the entire thing. To make this something I will actually see and walk by in my Minecraft world, I extended the road out of the forest to link into the village on the far side. Hello? He gave me a potato. Unfortunately, a potato was not the solution to all of my problems as much as I want it to be, so I'm back at the lumber mill to craft up oak fences and then grabbing some andesite from the quarry to make andesite walls. I'm thinking first up here, we start with these little trees like the llama one so that we can just kind of fill them in, see what's gonna happen, and tackle it from there. Can I make it? No. 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 I admit defeat. Okay. Now I love this skinny tree design, so I'm adding a few pockets of them throughout the entire region. But to add more interest in, I'm introducing a third tree type already in my world. The oak leaf green is helping to add some contrast to the forest bit with a little bit of height variation, as these are slightly shorter than the birch trees. But I am trying to bring them up the hill on the side to use all of the height available around me. After that, I had an idea to jump to the back side of the biome to build a few more of these oak trees sticking out of the edge, leaving a lot of space in between from the other trees to kind of dither out the edge of the forest a little bit further and really reinforce that edge bit. Where I'm very happy to say this finished the entire tree phase of this project. It's time to finish up the central plain / meadow area of this project by first smoothing out the dirt and filling in a lot of the weird Minecraft holes along the landscape that we all love so very much. I am giving this the same treatment as the creek section of the build, so I also want to add in a little moss to help with the texture of the grassy areas and add some contrast in there. In the final detail phase, things can be a bit repetitive as I've already figured out the formuolae. It's just time to grind and get it done, placing in all of the bushes, flowers, and warp bits throughout this entire new section. Before deciding it was too flat, so I brought it up even further with another 10 stacks of dirt. It was about here that I realized I passed the 3,000 days survived in hardcore Minecraft, and yeah, I missed it. I completely blew past it. We're now on day 3013. Still unaware, for a small detail, I built a bridge over the creek for people to use and decided a simple path out of it with some coarse dirt would look pretty nice. Finally, I grabbed some bone meal and running around to add in tall grass for the goodness on top of it all. With a few fences along the pass with a little lantern to make it a touch safer, and adding in glow lichen and the occasional jungle slab as a mushroom on the side of the trees. Exiting the main part of the birch forest here, I can say this is finally complete. Every detail element I wanted inside of this custom biome is now finished. Look at the little creek over here. It's absolutely beautiful. We got the pathway leading all the way out to our future village transformation, and flying around and looking at this entire place is just so special. I am absolutely in love with this project. Taking a look at where we started with the gross plains biome and the monolith on its own, I'm super happy to say that a month later, this is looking so much better after all of the work we put in to create a full environment. Finally, it looks like this actually belongs in the world now, but to put a cherry on top, or should I say a beetroot on top, it's time to plant a field. First, I need beetroot. Where do I have a... there we go. If you've watched till now, I have a very important question for you. I need you to answer in the comments. Have you subscribed? If the answer is no, please subscribe. If the answer is yes, please tell me your favorite Minecraft block in the comments. But here we have the 28th field added into this hardcore Minecraft world. Some I have decorative netherite armor kits, but over here, I still have a diamond hoe. Before we do anything else, I have to fix this right now. One netherite ingot plus a diamond hoe gives us a netherite hoe. The grand piece of this biome we built is the monolith. But as we get a little bit closer, you can pretty obviously tell that there's no interior, and it's just a beacon, which leads to the whole place feeling a little artificial. So I'm thinking first and foremost, we kill the skeleton. Yep, nailed it. And two, we get rid of the clicking that's killing me. Much better. To help out the floor, I'm thinking we surround this entire thing with some deep slate bricks. This way I can kind of jump on top. And I think we can also extend the platform another 3 blocks with the glass, so we don't just see through into that mess. I'm thinking we take some sculk and fill this in underneath all of our glass blocks so that we can create a cool artificial floor. Extending a small platform up here, I'm thinking we take in front of these frog lights, we do a soul sand right there and a brick right here. Surrounding these, I want to create water elevators that go up to the entrance. This way I don't need a giant platform coming all the way down here. All the way up here at the top, I'm thinking this side we drop on down. To keep the water locked in, we can take 2 trapdoors with a water bucket over here. And on top of these, we can add in light blue glass going all the way up. Again, get the water elevator working, I do need a little bit of kelp, where I should have some. Yes, perfect. When in doubt, the storage mess I shall provide. Throwing the water here in the top, we can meet it at the bottom with a little kelp going all the way back up. Breaking the kelp. And up we go. Creating a cave feeling out of the deep slate on the inside. I want this to feel dark and kind of tucked away so you don't really notice it from far away. And I think we're kind of getting that. Well, it still looks a little reinforced here with the walls in place, but overall pretty good. One last detail to fly all the way around and back inside. I need to get up and down. I'd like to hide a spore blossom back here so it feels a little magical when you're getting near it too. Hopefully those particles are going to be appearing. Yes, we're getting a little bit of them. Perfect. There we go. That is looking much better. Now we can jump all the way down to this. Yep, this is what we're jumping down to now. Ow. 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 Well, now it's time for the Minecraft builder's curse of never being able to actually finish a project, as I've got a new idea to add here. I need a little cobble, moss cobble slabs, some stone. The base of the forest around here just feels a little flat and empty. So going around it and adding in a few boulders, I think is gonna make it feel a little nicer. The nature around here is looking absolutely fantastic, but this world is lived in, and I thought adding a little farmhouse out here could be a great way to add to the environment. Going off of the base style that we've done everywhere else inside this world, something I know that works is really simple and just completes it. Breaking away from the mold, we can add a little front door right here. Then for the walls, I'm thinking just bringing in a ton of cobblestone. But I also do have mossy cobble, so maybe we can use that to replace some of these and make it feel very weathered out here in the forest. Poking in a window right over here, and maybe another out the back on this side. Showing we're walking around this area a little bit, I added a little bit of rooted dirt, and then maybe here we do a little campfire. Since this is a pretty basic farmhouse, on the inside, we can just add in a bunch of coarse dirt for the floor, toss the door in place, and extend some spruce stairs out for a front awning, which is gonna connect into the main roof line throughout here that will also probably be spruce. It's been a little while since building in this style, but it is really nice coming back to something that I know and seeing if I can do it in a better way. For the roof itself, we can bring in a few deep slate tile stairs going all the way across, leaving space for a chimney in here using the last little bit of cobblestone I have. Some walls up here, then I do have a soul campfire that we can throw on top. Here at the end with these slabs, I'm thinking we just bring them in a touch and trapdoors across the rest of it. This is looking pretty good for the house so far. With the house completed over here, we really need to situate it into the environment. So I'm thinking a little hedge right along here. Then over on this side, we can extend it down with a small workstation, like covered station of sorts. A little more like this, where we have a bench over here, clearing out the floor underneath, and I think we just fill it with some rooted dirt and a lot more stuff in here. Okay, that's looking much better for the house, but over here's very flat and open, where I think this could be perfect for a small storage shed. About this size, and then from here we connect everything up with some spruce stair, right there. Yeah, I think this can work. We just need a little roof, where I think some spruce slabs just carried all the way up to the top will be the perfect solution. A little tip on top here, I did add in some spruce stairs to help it be a little bit more consistent going across. A little coarse dirt down here at the base, and I'm thinking from this point, we just keep adding in the extra details of storage goodies all over. Maybe a little table right here for some working, and it's getting dark, so I need a lantern. Yep, this is helping a lot for the area to feel just a little bit more lived in. I really like the hedge over there, so maybe we can use that here to help kind of block off this side entrance. The far side's just gonna be blocked off by stuff, and maybe a few extra leaves on the outside because the back looks a little weird. I love the idea of them having a little garden patch, so maybe we can throw a few of the alliums over here, and just a few of them here on top of this section too. One of these days, I'm really gonna have to make a sweet berry farm, as I use them a lot to decorate, but I just never have any. Some final touches for the build style is just adding in the foliage throughout. We got glowberries, glow lichen, sweet berries along the back. It's funny what was a necessity when I started out this world to keep myself safe, like using glowberries as a light source and glow lichen for that, and the sweet berries to stop the mobs from coming in, is now just purely for decoration, and it just has to be here. It's like the soul of the world at this point. Now this is feeling feeling much more like home, with a disgusting mess of a shulker box mess to go along with it. Ugh. Now, if you'd like to see this entire project uncut, there's a playlist on my channel with all of the streams building this, should be in the description. I'd really appreciate it if you take the time to leave a like on this video to support the channel and be sure to subscribe. But with that, I'll catch y'all on the flip side.